Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of this is my makeup channel. That's the wrong intro. Never mind. You're here. Hi, welcome. So today I wanted to do Two-Face inspired makeup from Batman. It's relevant to what we're doing today in the crochet along on my channel, my other channel, and Crystal's channel, Crystal Hook That Yarn. So today I'm going to be doing that. Split dye hair really works for that. I wish it looked better today. It's just having a day where this is as good as it gets. So anyways, I hope we can hang out and have fun and, you know, see how things shake out, because sometimes they shake out good and sometimes I delete videos. So it shouldn't be that bad. I've done this makeup a couple times. It's been a while, so it's going to be fun regardless, right? First, I want to start. Hi, Crystal. First, I want to start the process of covering my eyebrows. I'm sorry if I seem unprepared. It's because I am. But I try. I try to be prepared. This is just as good as it gets sometimes. Like, I swear I get things out. Oh, wait. There it is right there. So let me go grab an alcohol wipe to cover one of my eyebrows. So I found that this is the best method to cover my eyebrows and that I've encountered, and so I'm going to do it that way. So you want to make sure that there's no oils, no primer, no moisturizer, nothing on your brow. So that's what the alcohol is for. You can use an alcohol wipe, or you can use just alcohol on like a cotton swab or something. Really go kind of scrub in there so there's nothing lingering. Then you're going to let that dry completely. It being alcohol, it's going to dry quickly. So on the rest of my face, I'm going to put a face primer on. So let's see what face primer I want to use today. I think that for me, I'm going to do these two together. I haven't tried them together before. Hi, Bridget. Welcome in. So first, I'm going to put some of the Smashbox Photo Finish, the original. And I'm going to really focus on not getting it on that one eyebrow, because again, I don't want anything making it harder for my eyebrows to stick down. Thin layer. How is everyone doing today? It's been a crazy day. It's just been a crazy day. Crystal knows. Crystal's gotten, like, you know, update, minute by minute updates. So I hope everyone else's day is going a little less bonkers. Like, although it does look like it might calm down a little bit. Knock on wood. So before putting on the other primer, I'm going to start my first layer of brow glue. So I'm going to start by going against my brow hairs for the first part, and then I'm just going to kind of scrub back and forth. Now this is just a washable glue stick, and this is my favorite way to cover brows, kind of classic drag way to cover brows. And then I'm going to push them up and out. I know, Crystal, I know. And so I'm going to let that dry completely. If you have a ton of glue all around your skin, you want to make sure that you remove any excess. Been good here, long day, get that. Doing all the things, get that. And still drained from our 11-hour bike trip. Oh my gosh, that is insane, but very impressive. Good for you. I can't do anything for 11 hours. I'm tired just hearing them. That sounded awful, but I hope you know what I meant by that. Making sure to avoid that brown. And Crystal, I don't think you're an admin on this channel yet, so I don't think you can post the link, unfortunately, but I'll make you an admin. So I just never think about that kind of stuff. So this needs to dry completely. You want it to be dried to the touch. And it's getting there. It does dry fairly quickly, but you don't want to move on and start your next layer before it's completely dry. So I'm going to go ahead and start the Harvey Dent side of the face. So for this, I'm going to go and start with putting concealer on any spots, which I have like a couple hundred, so it doesn't have to be super blended in, because once I put my foundation on, it blends in, but this is really good rather than having to like color correct a bunch after foundation. And so, yeah, I'm going to do a straight line. When the kings come, we stay on the go. When he's at work, I rest and recharge. It takes a few days. Oh, yeah. I bet. And so this is a thicker concealer. It's not like a thin concealer. This is the MAC Studio Finish concealer. And I like this because it's really good at being high coverage, and you just a little bit goes a long way with it. So we're going normal face on this side, and then we're going buck wild on this side. That's one of my favorite sayings, buck wild. Just who I am, okay? Okay, so now this is dry, and I'm going to go and put another layer of this on. So with this, we're not going to go backwards. We're just going to go in one direction so we don't displace anything that's already glued down. And really our goal now is to create a solid layer of glue that starts to get in all those little hairs, the spaces between all those little hairs, and kind of create like a shell. Make sure you get those hairs in the front. If some people like to leave those out so they can, that's where they start their brow. It's up to you, but if you're doing something like this. But that's what 2 layers looks like. Let that dry, and we'll move on to foundation for this side. This is always a really fun makeup look to do because there's so many variations of it. There's so many ways you can do it. It's such an easily identifiable makeup that you can really go any way you want to with it. You can pick any colors, and people are immediately going to know, the character. Okay, I'm gonna use a foundation I don't normally use, just because it's here. So I'm gonna use my Tier Red Cushion. I don't love this, but it's not the worst. I just don't know. I'm not convinced it looks great on my skin, but a lot of things don't, so that's okay. Ah, you poke yourself in the eye while you're at it. It's your super villain origin story. Poked yourself in the eye. Now you're pissed about it. Now, the good thing about this is because the red one is the matte version, is that you don't need a ton of setting powder. Even someone who gets oily like I do, you don't really need as much as I normally have to go with. But as a result, if you have combo skin, if you're on the drier side, anything like that, this particular color cushion might not be the one for you. Just feel like it doesn't really, no, I don't know. Poke, poke. Hi, Rachel. Okay, so we still have a little bit of dry time that's needed on this eyebrow. And I'm going to go ahead and start on this eyebrow. Is one skill I don't have. I can do a simple face, but nothing like everyone does nowadays. Well, I firmly believe that practice makes decent, you know. But also, I think that there's a lot of makeup trends that come and go that make it really hard to kind of keep up with. I'm doing a straighter, kind of thicker brow than I normally would do for myself for this particular look. But I think that just trying like one new product here and there can really kind of change like your whole makeup routine to make it something that you are happy with if you want to kind of evolve those skills. There's no need to, but I do think that it always not always, but it usually pays off to try something new. I think I'm gonna go a little bit darker than what this pencil's giving me right now. Ian is a good teacher. I have my moments. So next we're gonna get ready for the final layer of glue, and this one is to me this is the most important layer. Now this is my glue stick, so I'm gonna lick it when the time is right. But on clients, this is where I would like add water to it because this is a water-based glue. It's washable, so it's going to start to break down a little bit and get a little bit thinner when you add moisture to it. And that's exactly what we want for the final layer because it helps smooth everything out and make it nice to look at and kind of melts everything together. I don't feel like me when I'm all covered up. Yeah, that's totally fine. Yeah, that's the good thing about makeup is it's totally what you want it to be. And there's people on all different sides of the spectrum with that, and that's the cool part about it. So I'm going in and I'm applying my third layer of glue. And unlike the other layers, I'm not going to go ahead and let this dry by itself. I'm going to add moisture via my tongue, and I'm going to go, and that's going to make it a little bit smoother. And then I'm going to take a shit ton of powder, like an ungodly amount of powder, and I'm going to press that into the brow. Don't rub it in, just press. Well, I am a professional makeup artist. I mean, like, I have been doing makeup and getting paid for it for a long time. Most recently, less so, even though I was trying to get back into it when I have been in LA, but it's hard to break into the industry. And I also had like a couple months that just weren't good for me going out and doing things. So what I'm going to do next is after you've applied that crazy amount of powder, you're going to get rid of the excess, and all that's left is what is stuck to that eyebrow. And that's going to do a lot of color correction. If you're trying to do a skin tone over this, you might have to do additional color correction. But luckily, we're just going, crazy with things, so we don't have to worry about that as much today. So I'm gonna do the normal side of my face first. I'm actually gonna apply a little bit of powder, even though I said you don't need a lot of powder for this. I feel like I need some, or we're gonna get some pretty substantial makeup breakdown. But I'm not gonna let it bake as long as I normally would, because again, this is a drier formula. So I'm going for my kind of standard masculine makeup on this side. So that means a lot of the contour techniques that are popular, that you see a lot of makeup artists doing on YouTube, they're going to be just altered to make more traditionally masculine features. So instead of kind of focusing on like more softer and more feminine shapes, we're going to focus on more angular shapes. And because I'm going to go so cartoonish on this side, I am going to go a little bit more cartoonish on this side. So it's going to look a little bit crazy until it doesn't, like all makeup. I feel like I'm extra pale right now because that's looking a lot more orange than it normally does, but okay. So what is everyone doing? Resting and recuperating, editing videos, all of that stuff. My brain is quite scattered today. And if you're like, Ian, your brain's always scattered, what are you talking about? Yeah. Me saying that today should mean that it is extra scattered. Also, catch one of these lives of you doing your makeup. You're working hard for the money. I always want to have like a better setup for being at home and doing my brushes, but I have so many, there's just no way to make them organized. Like when I go out and I do makeup, like I've got like my system, but like once I come home, like I toss it to the wind and I'm like, you know what? I can't be bothered. Trying to find that perfect brush. Okay, like just for reference, this bag is full of brushes. There's probably like 120 in here. And they're all different shapes. And when I am looking for a specific brush, I would just like dig and dig and dig and dig and dig. So when I'm editing one of these videos, it takes forever because I spend so much time in that freaking bag, just that bag. Like, oh, it's just a shadow. I was like, why is it sticking right there? It's just the shadow of my nose ring. It is hot as fuck. I turned that fan off because I know that like flickering light effect of having my fan on is helpful. Is hurtful, not helpful. The opposite of helpful. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna turn the fan off. But now it's hot as shit. But as long as I'm beautiful, it doesn't matter. Subjective, right? The good thing about doing this type of makeup is that this side is very straightforward. I think as long as you kind of understand the angles and bone structure that you're going for. Kind of bring some like ruddiness back to the complexion. Not have this like brightness under here. having a rounder face is always you're kind of working against the natural curves of the face to make things sharper, and so you kind of have to think about that in a different way. It's a little too pink. There we go. Now we're cooking with gas. Since we're so of course beautiful. That is true. I agree with that. I absolutely do. And I think one of the biggest things with being a makeup artist is like, every once in a while, it doesn't happen as often anymore. It used to happen a lot more. When I was starting with people who were like, oh, you wear all this makeup, or, telling other people they wear makeup because they don't feel confident. But it's like, if doing that makes you feel good, then, that's absolutely fine. And as long as you don't bring other people down for not having your same standards, whatever they are, then that's fine too. And also, I feel like whenever I have someone in my chair and I'm working on them, it's a collaborative effort, but it's also about me making them see like how naturally beautiful they are. And like it's like when I'm doing their like eye makeup, it's like and this isn't bullshitting them. It's like, oh my gosh, you have like such beautiful eyes. Like this looks great on you because you have naturally great features, and like it's hyping people up. And so it's not only my job as a makeup artist to make people feel good about the makeup and how they look in it, but it's my job to make people feel good about themselves. And I don't want it to be like, hey, you needed this makeup because you looked like garbage before, because that's never true. And I think a lot of makeup artists are like that. And like a lot of us have that same kind of pep talk, self-talk that we do with people. And, when there was this expectation that a makeup artist is going to sit there and tell you everything that's wrong with you, when I don't know many makeup art, like I don't know any makeup artists that are like that. I'm sure that there are some. I'm not ruling that out, but like I don't think that those makeup artists would last, because you're sitting with someone for who knows how long, depending on the makeup, and you if they're telling you how shitty you look and making you feel like garbage, like you're not gonna want to go back to them. You're not gonna want to hang out with them and spend that time over and over again. So I'm gonna give my kind of highlight my eye bags a little bit more. Men look tired. Everybody knows that. Okay, so I'm gonna do a little bit more on the eyes, and then really this side of the face, I think we actually need a little bit more. This color is not quite severe enough for me. I'm going for the dramatique. And I'm also going for sweating my balls off. That's neither here nor there, is it? There we go. I like that cooler tone better. Everything's pulling really orange on me today because I'm way, way lighter than I normally am. And I'm so sweaty that I'm turning red. This is a fun exercise in what happens to your face as you start to heat up. Thank you. Just having to finesse this a little bit more. It's because it wasn't working like I wanted to. But that's the gig, right? That's being a makeup artist is having to think on your feet because everything that can go wrong will go wrong. That's always how it is. That's always how it will be. That's what I'm fucking talking about. Okay. Should have brought my fan over here, but it's all the way over there. Oh. I'm tempted to do some like beard stipple, but that can go really sideways, ruin everything so fast, and you gotta start all over. So you know what? I'm just not gonna do it, even though it could be fun. Could be fun. Not gonna do it. You can't make me. You can't make me. I am gonna fix this little filtrum situation though. I love this unibrow part. It's my favorite. My favorite. Okay, so now that this side is looking like, what is happening? That's just my natural skin. Now we get to go to the fun part. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a purple base. Now, like I said, with Too Faced being such an iconic character, but there's still like a lot of leeway that you have when you do this design. People do blue on one half, people do, I think, green on one half, people do red on one half, purple, like literally any color, people will know that it's Too Faced because you're doing split, right? And so a lot of times when I do Too Faced, I do purple because I grew up in the 90s and Tommy Lee Jones was my Too Faced. So I'm going to use purple as my base color. And I'm using all creams on this side. Now I will be pulling into this palette, but I try to use, if I have other options for creams, I generally go for those. This is just kind of a supplement because those are a lot thinner and they blend really easily, but sometimes they blend too easily, and so they can kind of get a little muddy fast. Whereas if I have something that's a little bit denser, a little bit thicker, then it doesn't all kind of blend together. So not quite. as easily. So just going to scoop out some purple, put it on my palette. This is the Ben Nye cream color and purple. They got really fancy with the name. And then you're going to want to just like dab it on like this. Now, with these colors, you don't want to swipe it on because it's going to get really streaky, especially as you get into lighter colors like the whites and stuff like that. Those get really, really streaky, so you're going to want to dab them on. You can use like any kind of beauty sponge or whatever, but with these crazy colors, I like disposable ones because then I don't have to worry about them potentially staining the sponge. And me definitely having to clean them out. So we're going to do purple all over this side of the face. It looks really, really great right now. It does not look bruised and disgusting at all. With a sponge this small, it takes about a quarter of a million years. So put on a podcast, put on one of my videos. I don't know, whatever. Now, when you're going over a blocked eyebrow, don't rub or anything like that. You want to make sure that you're being very gentle because we don't want that brow to come up. The soothing sound of a pouncing sponge. Now, this is the kind of makeup I really like. This and like editorial makeup and stuff like that. I'm not a big like beauty makeup person. Like, it's fun and cool, and other people are really great at it, and I can do it, but I don't. I just have a lot more passion for doing kind of crazier looks, and so when I get to kind of let the creative juices flow into something like this that's not defined by like very rigid structures, I get to have more fun, and that's more fun. I like, this is the kind of makeup that makes me super happy. So you want to go as far down that you are showing and that you want to look like. Usually that's going to be down further on the neck. So I'm going to kind of create some, I'm probably going to go to my collar. Honestly, why not? Usually I'm too lazy, but today I'm deciding not to be lazy. Just kidding. I'm still going to be lazy, not lazy about this one particular thing. So because I have a pretty thin coat from that kind of first layer, I'm just going in and putting a second coat to kind of make that color more rich. It's not going to have to be perfectly even. In fact, kind of works in your favor when it's not, but you do want to try to get all of that skin tone covered so that once you start playing with the highlights and the lowlights, the shadows, everything like that, that you're not worrying about, other things peeking through. And you'll get to see why this particular makeup idea ties into what we are doing over on Crystal's channel when we go live later tonight. This makeup was picked strategically. I'm not going to go all the way like into my hairline back there. It's just not that serious. It's just not. Around my eye, I'm going to put eyeshadow there and everything. So, in fact, because I have small eyes and oily lids, getting a lot of cream there just kind of tends to end a disaster for me. So I try to not get creams there if I can help it. Sometimes it just happens and I roll with it, but we just, we're just doing our best. So I saw this look on Pinterest that I liked. I saw this Too Faced makeup on Pinterest that I really like, and it was kind of, it wasn't kind of an even split, kind of like this is. It had kind of these bits that kind of pulled onto the Harvey Dent side. So I'm just using kind of the edge of my sponge and trying to create irregularity in it coming over. You don't want it to look too even because it's supposed to be a chemical burn. If you didn't know, that's how Harvey Dent got these scars. I don't know what happened on my chin right there, but okay, we're gonna just work with it. I don't like what happened there, but it's stuck, so okay. So we're just gonna kind of work around that. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to start with my lowlights. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of the black cream from this palette. And I just need a little bit because black starts to really overwhelm any color that you put it next to. So, or you mix into it. So you don't need a lot. You can always add more. Taking it out is a whole lot harder. We're going to use this to start making some of the, get a little bit more, some of the shadows, and also his eyebrow. Now these creams will blend really, really well. Again, sometimes too well. You gotta kind of, fuck. I'm always dropping stuff. That's, see how there's just like a little bit of black on my sponge and it's just like, okay, well, there's no more purple there. and lots of just like, it's just going to be hours of doing that. So prepare yourself. And if you're wondering what the absolute worst part of this makeup is taking it off, especially makeup in the ear. But if you don't do makeup in the ear, it looks really weird. So I know you were all wondering that. You're sitting there asking yourself that very question as I said it. You're all like, what the fuck is he talking about? And it's okay if you look up and you're like, because that's just how most makeup is. In fact, that's usually the sign that something's going right. Not always. Okay, so this. Find a good brush for my eyebrow. This isn't exactly what I wanted, but it's okay. I'm just kind of creating these like fake hairs. Now, because of I didn't put anything over my eyebrows to brighten up the color, it still looks really dark over my eyebrows, but I'll put some of the highlight color under there, and that's going to make the brow look like a brow and not just this big sheet of black that I have going on right now. Sheet of black. Okay, so you can kind of see that's where that eyebrow is. I'm going to thicken her up a little bit. The more stupid faces you make while doing your makeup, the better your makeup's going to be. It's just a fact. I didn't make the rules, okay? Now I'm going to go in with this color, and I'm going to go and kind of do the opposite of what we do with our typical like beauty makeup, where we're trying to like hide all of our flaws and like folds and things like that. And I'm going to go in and make them more noticeable. So like for me, like this fold right here, the nasolabial fold, I just have a pronounced one. It's just my face. So I'm going to go in, and I actually like to go around my nose a little bit with this one. It just always looks like a little bit more sinister to me. And I'm going to go in and put some of that darker color like right there. When you're trying to do any like angry faces, aging faces, makeup, anything like that, making your face like scrunch up, move around, all of that stuff, and then putting the makeup where you see those lines is going to give you the most natural. But so that's a good question. It's not a silly question at all. So the reason why is because my eyebrow is down here, and so this is going to be more expressive. This is going to be this is higher up on my face. I can't, like, I could hold my face maybe kind of up there, but it's like it would, covering it up allows you to put your eyebrow in any place and in any way that you want. So you can have thinner eyebrows, you can have thicker eyebrows, and have them look a specific way. So all of this is going to be totally different looking, so that it'll kind of look like if you know The Rock, like I'll kind of have his like signature eyebrow expression, but I won't be moving my face in that thing in that way. It's just I will have painted my eyebrow to be expressive. And if you look at the comic books, if you look at, and a lot of drag queens will do this because they have lower brows, because of that's just how their anatomy works. And so they cover their brows and they move them up because it allows them to change their proportions on their face. So kind of changing and working to make new kind of proportions. But excellent question for sure. And I've always really liked how transformative makeup can be. Like to me, that's kind of the magic behind it. It's like, to me, I kind of liken it to like practical effects, and I mean, and really, it's considered practical effects in movies too, like when they do like gore and stuff, and they actually did the makeup for it. It's not just like CGI, right? It's like this magic of transforming what your eye perceives as going on. So okay, now that I've done the darker parts and we're looking bonkers, we're looking totally crazy, right? So I'm going to leave the darker shades aside, and now I'm going to work on the highlights. And the highlights, we kind of have to We also have to kind of be, how do I say this? We just want to really make sure that how we place our highlights, things don't get too muddy, and but also fits into the look that we're going for. So they all work together. We want them to be harmonious. So I'm using Clown White Light, which is kind of a less potent version of Clown White, so it's not as stark. And this version is again thicker, so it's not going to blend in as creamily as the black. And what I didn't do with the black is I want some more forehead wrinkles because I want this brow to look like it's raising up. So I'm going to put some wrinkle lines over that. And then kind of as a general rule, every time you do a contour or you want to pair it with a highlight so that it kind of gives that dimension. Okay. And then I'm just going to take whatever is left on my sponge and start to blend that in more. Now you can play a lot in the cream stage, and then you have you can play a lot like this as many times as you want, and then when you're ready, you just set everything with powder, and then you can go in with eyeshadows and finesse it more. And so that's usually what I'll do is I'll kind of get the basic idea of what I wanted down in creams, and then I'll come back with powders and try to get really what I'm looking for. But if you set something in cream, it is really difficult to, if a major you didn't blend in one spot or something, it's a lot harder to go back from that. Speaking from personal experience. Now I'm going to take another liner brush and go in. I'm going into these marks that I put, just putting some brighter highlights, so less mixing of the purple and the black, so that they kind of stand out more. See, like that's my whole eyebrow just covered right there. Just putting more there. And now you can see that a lot of my like mid tones are totally washed out. So I'm gonna go back in with those. And this is just where we have some finessing to do. I feel like I should get like a smaller brush. And then you undo all that work. Get back. And then your eye is really itchy. Oh god. Oh god. And it's important to take a step back every once in a while and be like, is this where I wanted things to go? Because it's easy to get really drawn into one spot, and then you look back and you're like, no. That's not it. no, this is not where I want it to be. And then also it's kind of weird to see everything without the eye done. But I'm confident that we can get it there. But this we're gonna have to fix because I'm not loving it. Thanks. Yeah, again, I'm not. We're tweaking. We're getting somewhere. It's looking better than it was like even 10 minutes ago. So just with that news, I'm happy. Oh crap! I got some on my hand. Okay, that's looking a lot better. It's not the most blended, but we're getting there. Just kind of going with a light touch. Okay, I can live with that. I can live with that. It's one line ends very abruptly with an old. Cool. Let's go in and add some shadows. These little puppies. Just gonna give them kind of like a kind of brush stroke, kind of natural flick type. It's kind of weird that they're happening there and not anywhere else in the makeup. I'm gonna take Okay, so now that I'm happy enough with the cream, I'm going to powder the living hell out of it. So with creams, you have to set it very, very well with powder. Otherwise, it's going to come off on your hands. Literally everything the light touches will be covered in this stuff. So you have to set it like crazy, like crazy. So I'm going to use this RCMA colorless powder so it doesn't affect the color too much. Because otherwise, like translucent powders will work just fine. They do dull the color a little bit. And then I'm going to use powder puff and just so much powder. You don't want your powder, your creams to get on your puff at all. That's a sign that you don't have enough powder. So I'm just going to start low and work my way up. I'm going to look like I fell into a vat of powdered sugar, or I visited Crystal's house. She knows what I'm talking about, by the way. Getting all the nooks and crannies. This is not the time to be stingy with your makeup. You want to be covered. Don't make me say it more. This is so much powder. And really press it in. Get all of those molecules bonded with the powder. Now, normally when I do makeup, I make sure that the creases, that my makeup has not settled into my creases and folds my face. So I'll like touch it up right before I powder. But with this, I'm kind of banking on things, working their way there. So I'm not doing that. You want to make sure you get this inside corner of your nose. That is a sneaky little bastard. Under your nose. Under where? This is what the phrase beat your face came from in the drag community, is you literally just like that. So, in case you were wondering. And if you're like, that's a lot of powder. Yep. But it's worth it to have the look. Okay. While this is settling in, I'm going to take a brown liner. And make sure it's still living. This one's giving me some doubts, which is why my voice is going up. Okay, well, I can't find my pencil sharpener, which is bullshit. But okay, rude. Okay, this is not quite the color I wanted, but it's good enough. And then I'm going to kind of go on my lash line. It's really not the color I wanted at all. And I'm going to smudge it out with my fingers. You can take a small brush too. Just kind of give it the illusion of like a thicker lash line. And then under the eye as well. Be very gentle under the eyes. The metallic isn't really what I had in mind, but it still does the job. Still does. And you're fine. Thanks. My psychiatrist thinks so as well. Just kidding. He thinks I'm he doesn't think so. Okay. So now that you look like this, you're going to take a big fluffy brush and you're going to blend all of that powder away. Okay, so with this, so you can see how it dulled out the colors, but it also mattified everything. So everything that was really shiny, catching all the different texture and everything that I had under my skin, it smoothed that out quite a bit just because of how severely matte it is. Not necessarily an attractive look, but just an effect of how matte things diffuse light. And so I'm going to work on this eye makeup. You can see kind of with this eyebrow how that's so much higher than my natural brow. I'm going to start with an eye primer. This one doesn't have any color to it. I'm going to put that all over my lid, making sure that I'm careful over my brows. I'll say it a million times every time in every video that I cover my brows in, because that shit will pop. Okay. Then I think for there's so much powder after this. It's gotta be a better way, but I don't know it. So for this, I want to do this kind of big blue eye because I always think that contrast of purple and like this like light blue to me always screams Too Faced. And you can do whatever you want on this side. Again, people will always know what you are, so just pulling out a handful of brushes. Actually really don't like this blush for its intended purpose today. It's okay, it's got other purposes, but I want something that's gonna bring the noise a little bit. Okay, that's much truer to the color. And covering your brow also allows you to have more space to do eyeshadow and stuff like that. My eyebrows, like sometimes it doesn't look like it, but I actually don't have a lot of room between like my on my lid and what you see when I open my eyes. And so when I when I move my eyebrows by covering them, then I have a lot more room to play and do different techniques and things like that. Is this blue just invisible or what? Okay, yeah, it just really sucks. Okay, good to know. try purple then. And this is where you can start just going for it. Like you can put eyeshadow anywhere on your face to enhance the colors, to play with the colors. You can just go nuts. So. And because he powdered so well, in theory, none of those, like, none of that cream that you put on is going to move, and therefore you still have your guideline and your base for whatever you're putting on top of it. Ooh. I don't know why I felt like I need to make that sound, but I did, and I did. I wish this blue was better. This blue is actually very bad. I think I have a better blue. Kind of not the right shade, but let's see. With those powers combined, it kind of makes the right shade of blue. Ooh, yeah. Oh, let's give him some dimension. What I want to do is I want to deepen up that eyebrow and make it a little bit more noticeable. Let's see. There's blue glitter. Could use the blue glitter. Okay, so I'm going to first go in with a black shadow and a appropriate brush. So I like to use like an angled liner brush for this. And then I don't want my eyebrows to be this big solid block. I still like to kind of make these like kind of hair-like tiny strokes. Don't know why I put the end of a brow like all the way over there. Okay. So this kind of brings it back to life after all of that. Let me go in. Then take this little brush, take like a navy, and go and darken up some of the spots in those little shadows that I built. I'm just adding a little blue to certain places to make that look nice. Looks pretty decent. And then I'm going to go for a glam like side of this. So taking a liner brush, liner brush, liner brush. Oh my gosh. I have a lot of liner brushes, but I don't have the one I'm looking for. this isn't what I'm looking for, and I probably will hate how my liner looks after this. But life's too short to be searching through bags. Am I right? I don't know. That's not a phrase. I like to go in and get all of the sheer amount of powder that I put on my face. It gets in my eyes. Okay, now that I've done that, I mean, I think I don't think that there was a particular moment. I just I remember seeing like the makeup that my mom had, stealing the makeup my mom had, when she went to like the makeup counter or anything like that, like just like looking at what other artists had like put on her, or like what they like, you know, kind of their way of thinking about makeup and all of that. It just, for me, it was all so exciting. There wasn't like every part of it was so cool, and they were so, you know, like there were so fewer options when I started doing makeup that people were, I mean, and people still are very imaginative. Like, I'm not trying to take that away from anyone, but like people were so crazy inventive about, you know, different ways to do things. And, you know, I was always like, it was always so cool to me. And then there are other things that like I spent a lot of time in the drugstore because that's where my bus dropped me off. And so I would spend just like hours staring at makeup, like every day, 5 days a week. So I was always really just enraptured by it. It was always super cool. And the minute that I could get a little bit, whether it was through my mom or I got my own, I just was obsessed with it. And I also wanted to push the limits and see how cool and weird and, you know, whatever it could be. So I don't know if that answered your question, but like pretty much from the minute I saw her, I knew she must be mine. I thought I would like this like halo, like glitter moment, but I don't like it as much as I thought I did. I'm probably just gonna do a full glitter lid. That's always a solid move. And like the cool thing was, I guess, because I don't know, for me, like it wasn't like an act of femininity. It was like just an act of creativity. And I love being creative. So that's just how I always saw it. Yep. Okay, so I think I want to add a little bit of like some kind of liner below. But what would be cool to do some kind of funky liner. I think I'm going to do a red liner. I'm trying to fight the urge to do something lighter in the inner corner because I love the way it looks. I love the way it looks so much. It's just my go-to. Just put a little something. Well, I don't know why that's been my thing lately. I apologize, truly. Take that same color and add it to the mix in the center. Ooh, that's a good combo. I like that. I'm not going to put a lash on this side because honestly, I don't care. And I probably will regret that when I'm taking pictures, but whatever. Now we just have to worry about lips, and then I think we should be done. This has shaped up rather well, if I do say so myself. Okay. So on this side, we're basically just getting my lip color just kind of evened out a little bit. Now on this side, I think that I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do a black lip. You kind of want to extend it. Let that dry. That's a really harsh line. Much better. Then I'm going to take a shimmery purple. And I'm going to wrinkle my lips up as much as possible. And then I'm going to put that on top. I think that looks quite nice. I'm going to put that purple like, over here. Ah, why was I like, you know what? This would be a great time to look at my brush while I'm pulling it towards my eye. So I think that, except for the lashes, I feel like I'm going to regret not putting lashes on. I have a full set right here. Yeah, okay. I'll put lashes on. Okay, you guys made me. Just kidding. I know it's not your fault. But I know I regret it when I don't do this, so just bite the bullet. Let it dry for a little bit. Don't try to put it on immediately when it's wet. I like the brush on lash glue rather than the squeeze tube. That stuff always fucks me up. Been a makeup artist for a long time, and that stuff still messes me up almost every time. This occasionally, but not nearly as much. Well, I kind of want to put this color on my cheek. The good stuff. I could just play with this all day. I need to chill the hell out. Thank you very much. So I place my lash band down in the middle. These I cut like a little bit too short. They do kind of give me a little bit of a problem. Not impossible, but okay. Something decent. So this is the look. I don't usually use setting spray because I just there's a lot that I don't particularly like love about it. I can keep makeup like this on for a good amount of time because it's okay that it looks so powdery because that's what you got to do, and you bring life back to it with the shadows and everything. Thanks, Crystal. But this is the side that's actually harder for me to keep looking good. It says I'm not connected. Okay. Can you all see me? I said that I disconnected from my channel, so I don't know what that was about. But yeah, this is actually harder for me to keep looking good and not cakey and gross because it's supposed to look like normal skin. So, but yeah, so I might put setting spray on it. I might not. Depends. But anyways, thanks for hanging out with me. I thought this would take like 3 hours, but we're just shy of 2 hours, so that's pretty cool. And thank you for hanging out. So at Crystal, you're gonna have to be my brain on this one. So at 7 p.m. Pacific, which is 10 p.m. Eastern, we're gonna be heading over to Crystal's, which is at Hook That Yarn, here on YouTube. We're going to be over there for an hour, and then after that, we're going to go to my other channel, which you all know is Ina's Weird, and I'll be there. So thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for being my cheerleaders through this, because there were points in time, just like with most makeups, where I'm like, what am I doing? So it just goes left, and I'm like, oh gosh. But I'm glad we were able to find what we were looking for, it seems. So